Well, here it is, ready to rock and roll at last. Running a brazed carbide left-hand turning tool. I think that's going to be rigid enough for me to do bores up to 12 inches without problem. And later on, I'll make a little tool holder for chamfering and grooving tools to fit in the end. I did have one, big problem when mounting the tool holder in after shaving the back of the base plate. I was getting about 110th hour run out and just couldn't bang it around with my brass drift to get it correct. Inside these grooves are little T-nuts, and of all things I faced the plate down and forgot to take a little bit off the T-nuts, and they were riding proud in the slot. But overall it's down to a couple of thou on the snout bar holder, and for what I do it's perfect for smoke boxes, etc. So I've got a brazed carbide tool, high speed steel in a good grade from Poland. I somewhere have an indexable insert left hand turning tool, but it has decided to disappear. It'll come up when I don't need it, sometime soon. I also have a WNMG left hand tool holder that is bloody useless because there's no body clearance below the insert. So I'll either grind that, or if I get some common sense I'll put it in the rubbish bin and buy a decent bloody tool. But that can crank out 1.5 inches past the edge of the head now, which gives me about 12 inches working capacity with the bore up. Okay, all for now. Don't forget, like and subscribe. And here we are on the outer edge of the clamping plate, just taking a finishing cut to take a few of the work marks out. That should do it. Now I'll change over to the drill chuck and drill and tap for the clamping bolts. I've laid out the screw holes positions and marked it with the spring-loaded centre punch. Quite a good device for getting on spot. Swap it over for a 5mm drill, and we're away. Little magnetic parts trays are really good for holding your gooey goo. Don't laugh at the swarf brush, I'm just getting the money's worth. put a bit more speed into it this time, I think. Tool change. I just thought this is something you might like to see. How do you come back to the correct position for the next hole to put the tap in without a DRO? Well, all I do is I put the drill in the chuck backwards, move it across until the stub of the drill goes in the hole. You're there, tap it ready. Now we'll just drive this in until it slips, then tack over with the manual handle. The other two will do without you watching, and then we'll put it up to the borer. And hello again, it's the old bloke back. Now you can see the extension shaft in the borer in the snout bar holder. Now I've marked the position on the body where I have to machine the flat for the drive screw here, and also that has the tool extension in the right direction for expanding with the facing head. Bit of a comparison between an original snout bar and this extension bar. That's 1.5 kilos, this bugger weighs 3.3, so it's going to get a lot of material wasted out of the belly there. I don't like that much extra weight spinning around at 250-300 RPM. I'll be limiting the speed down very low, but I think it's a job well done. One tool as such fits in the bar quite nicely. So we'll bring you back when it's all finished and set up. After I machine the flat on the drive shank in there, I'll be taking the snout bar holder off the facing head, putting that part in the lathe, and I'll face the rear face of that mount. I think it might be out a little bit. It's probably been crashed a dozen times by kids when this is in TAFE. And I think just take 2 or 3 thou off, that way I can guarantee that everything is concentric with the body, with the shank, and perpendicular at the face and the back. Bye for now. Here we are back on the lathe, about to face off the snout bar holder. I've got the bar that I'm making, the extender, in the chuck, it cocked up very well, about 2.5 thou. I've fed in about 3 thou, and just engage a bit of feed and apply some Gorilla Guts. I always like to put a bit of slime on of some kind, gives you a much better finish. And from here I can see it's about as straight as my nose, so I think this was one of the problems I had. I'd say an old speak, I'm going to have 2 cuts of 5 thou to get it up flush. I'm using a very sharp insert, TPUN milling insert with no chip breaker, and it's only an 0.4 radius, so the push out force is minimal. I just hope it puts up with the interrupted cut when it gets out to the square corners okay. Stop it then, we'll have a look. It's starting to clean up. I can still see there's not that good a contact here. It'll be interesting to see what the rest of the cut's like at the outer part of the face. It may finish up a bit better than I thought. And as the periphery is where most of the contact is done, and that's where the bolts are, it may yet come out good. Even if it does come out good, I'll give it another cut of about 2 thou at a higher speed to finish it up a little better. I'm trying to put the best finish I can on all the mating faces, and the pacing head slide I put up on the surface grinder and took about 1.5 thou off each side to bring it up to a better finish. It was still in very good condition, at least that part of the materials out of the shed were well done. I don't know why there's such a variation in material qualities across the different parts of the machine. Some of it has been really, really good material, but the rest of it has been pretty bloody ordinary, and some of the work isn't fantastic. Maybe the factory just run out of money at that time. Just a little bit to go now, we're out to the outer corners. Let's see what it's like there. Yes, a couple of thou to go there. And there's quite a bit not cutting there and here, so yeah, I was right. It was facing up crooked onto the slide, and that was giving me a little bit of a wobble on the snout bar holder. So I'll finish this cut and I'll take another cup of thou and bring you back then. I've heated it another 5 thou and kicked it up to 240 RPM. I'm a little bit happier with this cut. With a bit of luck it'll true up. I'll bring it back after it's finished. As you can see, the face cleaned up very well. Total of 10th hour, which is not much to take out of the thickness of the mounting plate. Bit of a deburr, and I'll put that back up on the borer. Quite confident we'll get a good job. Now to reverse the extension tool, and I think I'll turn quite a bit off the OD to try and bring the weight down. You can see where I've bored the shaft that mounts in the snout bar holder. I might even take a couple more millimetres out of the inside of that. An extra 2 kilograms is just too much to be swinging around on there. Okay, back again later. Take a pickie of this. Lovely.